Hello, Professor. My name is Jenny Lopez, and this is Anatomy and Physiology 2, the endocrine system. And I will describe the anatomical locations, structures, and functions of the pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, and the endocrine portion of the pancreas. I will also explain the relationship between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, along with how this knowledge helps distinguish primary, secondary, and tertiary endocrine disorders. Let's begin. The pituitary gland is situated at the base of the brain, inferior to the hypothalamus, within the sella turcica of the sphenoid bone. It's divided into two parts: the interior pituitary, the adenohypophysis, and the posterior pituitary, which is the neurohypophysis. The interior pituitary releases hormones like growth hormone, GH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, and thyroid stimulant hormone, TSH, while the posterior pituitary stores and releases oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone, ADH. The thyroid gland is located interior to the trachea, inferior to the larynx, and spanning the base of the neck. It's a butterfly shaped with two lobes connected by the isthmus. It produces thyroid hormone, T3 and T4, that regulates metabolism, and calcitonin, which lowers blood calcium levels. The adrenal gland is superior to each kidney. The supraadrenal renal glands. Each gland has an outer cortex and an inner medulla. The cortex produces corticosteroids, cortisol, and aldosterone, while the medulla secretes catecholamines, epinephrine, and norepinephrine, helping in stress response. The endocrine portion of the pancreas is located posterior to the stomach in the upper left quadrant of the abdomen. It contains clusters of cells called the islets of the Langerhans. It produces insulin, which lowers blood glucose. Glucagon raises blood glucose, and somatostatin regulates blood and insulin and glucagon. Relationships between the hypothalamus and the hypophysis and the other glands. The hypothalamus is a key regulator located superior to the pituitary gland. It secretes, releasing, and inhibiting hormones that control the interior pituitary. For example, the hypothalamus releases corticotropin, it's a releasing hormone, CRH, prompting the anterior pituitary to release ACTH. Then ACTH stimulates the adrenal cortex to produce cortisol. This axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, shows how these glands work together to regulate stress responses and maintain homeostasis. Importance of distinguishing endocrine disorders and understanding these relationships helps distinguish in primary, secondary, and tertiary endocrine disorders. Primary disorders, dysfunctions originate in the target gland itself. For example, in the adrenal insufficiency due to adrenal gland damage. Secondary disorders, dysfunction stems from the pituitary gland inability to stimulate the target gland. Example would be low cortisol due to insufficient ACTH production. The tertiary disorder dysfunction arises from the hypothalamus failing to release hormones that stimulate the pituitary gland. Example, a lack of CRH causing decreased ACTH and cortisol. By comprehending the anatomical locations, structures, and functions of these glands, as well as their interconnected roles, we can better understand endocrine disorders, roots, and develop effective treatments. Thank you for watching. See you next week.